So, hold on. Now we're live. So it's Friday, so questions at chalmerswellness.com. Somebody asked me what I thought the hardest part of the plan was. Was it the working out? Was it the diet? The whole deal? There is only one part. It's the choice. It's the mental piece. Once you've made the decision, everything else is easy. Once you choose to go to the gym and you're actually at the gym, you're going to get some type of a workout. And it's funny because I'll talk to people and they'll go, I really didn't want to go. And I kept coming up with all these reasons not to go. And I was tired and I thought I'll just stay home and I'll get some sleep and I'll be better tomorrow. But I decided I'll just go. And they told me, I complained the whole way to the gym. I shouldn't be going. I'm tired. I don't want to do this. Got to the gym, then I complained the whole walking in, getting dressed. And then I started working out and it was fine. And I'm like, well, how, like the whole time you were tired, you didn't want to do it, whatever. I'm like, what was the quality of the workout? And they're like, an 8. I'm like, really? And they're like, yeah, I mean, it was a pretty good workout. Like once I just started doing it, like it was like, I'm already here. I might as well get it done. And so I just got it done. It wasn't that bad. It was actually a pretty good workout. I'm like, that's what happens the vast majority of the time. Even if you go and you get a crappy workout, right? You get a 6. Like, you cut some sets short, you just got exhausted. Instead of doing 4 different exercises for 4 sets, you did, three exercises for 3 sets of 10 instead of 3 sets of 15 or whatever. So you took 70% of your workout, still better than nothing, every single time. And the fact that I went to the gym, you'll always look back and be like, I went. I checked the box and I went, because not every workout's going to be as good as the last one, but I went. And when you can consistently do that and you consistently make it to the gym, you will consistently get better. When you consistently, sit down and you eat the right foods. Sometimes you're going to have a little bit extra stuff and you're like, I should have eaten the entire thing of ice cream. I should have eaten half the container of ice cream. But you know what? Whatever. I ate the whole thing. Fine. But you still ate within the parameters of your diet, and that's the thing. That's why I always tell people, like, we have to have pizza and ice cream and cookies and like all the things you enjoy, we have to have on your diet, because we're going to make this a forever thing. You can't be upset. I can't have this. I can't have that. You have to be like, I'm excited about the things in my diet. But again, this all comes back to the number one thing is making your decision. It's, I'm going to do this. And you make the decisions small at a time, right? Because what ends up happening, what I see more often than not, is people have tried things. It didn't work. Maybe they didn't fully commit. Maybe they didn't say, okay, for the next 6 weeks, I'm going to do this thing. They didn't figure out how to fit it in their schedule long term. And so it just didn't work. They didn't make the goals properly. They didn't sit down and set their goals properly. This is one of the reasons I always tell people the goals are 70-30, 70% for you, 30% for me. Because I'm going to know where you are. Like, I know where you start. So I need to have to know where you are, which is why we do the Eastern medicine testing and the Western medicine testing, the blood, the QRA, the whole deal. We'll do, the calcium CTs, the CTAs. We'll do all the testing. We'll figure out this is where you are today, which is easy. What's hard, and I have to rely on you for, is where do you want to go? What are your goals? Which is why we sit down and we go over goals so hard, because it's entirely for you. And it's like, here's your goal, but the most important thing is, how are we going to measure that goal? How do we know we're getting better? Because if you don't do that part, you're never get there. Because as you start getting there, if you're 30% of the way there, and you look at it and you're like, going to the gym sucks. I don't like it. It's part of I could easily be doing something else, and I have to eat this way. I have to make some food. It's 10% more of a pain for the diet. But if you 3-4 weeks in, you look at your metrics and you're like, but I am getting better on all of my goals. It's easy to look at it and go, oh, what I've chosen to do, the path I've chosen to get on to take me from point A to point B is working. My efforts are showing me results. I'm going to choose to lean in harder. I'm going to choose to invest more time, energy, and money. That's the thing. But the thing is, you have to make the decision to do it. Like no one wakes up at the gym and goes, how did I get here? This is a strange place to be. I guess I'll work out. That's not what happens. You have to make the decision to change your life. You got to make the decision to lean into the hard. Anytime that you make a change, it's going to be hard. So just understand that and be like, I'm going to do something hard. I'm going to be out of my comfort zone, for however long, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 10 weeks, until it becomes habit. Like people ask me, like, what do you do at 1 o'clock every day? I'm like, I work out. Like, well, what if, no, I work out. Like, I don't go to meetings. I don't schedule meetings. I don't take phone calls. I don't do any of that stuff. I work out at 1. That's it. That's what I do. I'm in the gym 5 days a week. Saturdays I work out at about 7 o'clock in the morning. And then Sundays I'll work at about 7 because I have to be ready for church. But that's I've put it in my schedule, and then everything else works around it. So, and not everybody can work out at 1. I get that. But you find a slot in your schedule and you're like, I have decided that this time is set aside for this thing. And I'm going to do this thing. So that's the thing. As soon as you make the decision and you're like, I'm going to do this, that's when things happen. Now, a lot of times the reason why this first 6-8 weeks is the hardest is because you haven't made the decision. You've said, I'm willing to dedicate a little to see if this works at all. And that's the most difficult piece, which is why sometimes you're like, well, I can work out 3 days a week. I'm like, okay, I'll take 3. I want 5. I'm not going to make you go 7. I want you to do 5, because it's the best way to spread apart all the different workouts and everything where it needs to be. You're like, well, you don't have to work out 5. You don't. But to hit most people's goals and see them really come through in a manner where you're seeing things happen quickly, you need to dedicate a decent amount of time to it. And like an hour, 5 days a week works pretty well. So, and then you can, like, inside that deal, you can be like, well, I don't want to do much cardio. Fine. You don't have to. I just want you to go to the gym. Once you're at the gym, that's the thing. Once you're at the gym every day for an hour, what you do while you're at the gym, we can change easy. Like, okay, it's back day, it's chest day, we're going to run a little bit today. We're going to do, okay. But you set up that hour, right? Or that 90 minutes or that 45 or whatever it is, and you've got to the gym. That's the thing. Or I want you to clean out your entire pantry and throw away all of this food and replace it with this stuff. Once you've done that and you're like, now I have to learn how to do things a little differently. Yeah. And once you've gone through the process, it's pretty easy. Like, what I think is hilarious is when we see people who they're like, I love pizza. And I'm like, great, you can have pizza. Like, it's one of the things that my kids have. Like, we have it all the time. But you have to make it. You can either make it from flour and water and bake it up, which is how my 11-year-old likes to do it, or you can do it from pre-made crust, which is typically the way I like to do it. Either way, you're going to make some stuff. And people are like, oh my gosh, making pizza is so hard. No, that's not accurate at all. It's literally, it's like a flat salad. Like, you take the dough, you take the crust, and then you put a little sauce on it, and then you drop things on it. Like, you drop some cheese on it. I put Italian seasoning on it. You drop some cheese on it. I drop chicken and steak and mushrooms and onions on it, and I put it in the oven. I hit go. It's really not that hard. And the first couple of times that people do it, they're like, oh, this isn't actually that hard. And I tell people, like, well, I smoke 2 turkeys every week. They're like, oh my gosh, that's more than I can do. No, it's not. It literally takes me, the defrosting takes the longest. Once it's defrosted, I take all the stuff out, stick my probes in them, stick them on the smoker. There's no seasoning or basting or marinating or that's just not the way I do it, because it doesn't have to be done that way. So stick them in there. From being in plastic wraps to being on my smoker, 7 minutes, and then I walk away and it smokes. When I come back, take them off, stick them in the oven to rest for an hour or so, cut them up. Super duper easy. The entire actual time I'm working on them, cutting them obviously takes the longest. You're looking at 15 minutes, like, of actual time spent. So there's a lot of things that are easy. People just don't make the decision to do it, which is why we've asked them, like, how hard is the diet? Once you choose to do it, it's not hard. And once you're like, it's going to be difficult because I'm doing something new, and I understand that, and I'm going to do something difficult to better myself. Once you kind of get through the it's new thing, it's super easy. It's just you've made the decision to do it. The problem we get into a lot, and that's why the first part's always the hardest, because I'm asking you to change your diet, change the way you eat, not necessarily change your diet. Because a lot of times people are like, I like cookies and cupcakes and ice cream and tacos and ribs and Great, you can have all that stuff. I just want you to make it differently. So the diet's really not that big of a deal. You just have to learn kind of like, oh, I have to make it like this, not like that, which is sometimes problematic, but it is what it is. The gym thing's probably hard, but the problem that we get into is that you're doing this all at once. You're changing your diet. You're changing your schedule so that you can get to the gym. You're going to be sore. We're going to talk about sleep. There's a lot of things we're going to do. But again, the hardest part of this entire thing is you have to make the decision. Now, again, the goals are to help you reinforce why we made that decision. Because one of the things we go through is not just what it is you want, but then after you go through each goal, like you're like, I want my energy to come up. Great, I want your energy to come up. We track how we're going to track that. Like when are you tired? When are you the most tired? When you start to get tired? Whole deal. And then you go, why? Why is this an important goal for you? So I just want to have more energy. Nope. Why? What are you going to do with this energy? I'm going to get healthier. Okay. Why is getting healthier important? Because I want to show my kids what healthy looks like. Fantastic. That's great. Because I want to walk my daughter down the aisle. Fantastic. Because I'm going to hold you to that, because that's real. And you're like, I don't know, man, the gym thing. I'm like, so you've decided you don't care about walking your daughter down the aisle anymore? And people just go, oh, fine. And they'll go and they'll get through it and they'll come back and they'll be like, I'm glad I'm better. I'm glad I stuck to it, because now I'm in a position where this is easier. And then your kids come up and they say stuff to you that blows you away. So, that's the thing. It's the mental piece is always the hardest. And that's why we work on it as well. That's why I want to show you what we're going to do. We're going to talk through real actual goal setting. We're going to work on gratitudes. We're going to work on mental state. We're going to work on the way our brain works. We're going to release some emotions. We're going to work on NLP stuff. We're going to talk to therapists. We're going to do whatever we need to do to get the mind where it needs to be, because everything follows the mind. As soon as you make your decision, everything else is easy. So that's why all these super annoying fitness guys are, I didn't want to wake up and run 5 miles, so I woke up and ran 5 miles. And you're like, that's why. They want you to understand that we don't necessarily want to do these things every day anyway, but we've decided that this is what we need to do, and so we're going to do what we need to do. We've decided that the hard thing is usually the better thing. So that's where it is. So when people ask me again, like, well, what's going to be the hardest piece of this? I'm like, making the decision and following through. Once you've made the decision, everything else is easy, but you've got to make the decision. You've got to believe in yourself. You got to believe in the plan. And you got to just walk it. And once you start believing it, it gets super easy. So, but that's kind of the whole thing. Like I said, once you get to the gym, how we're going to work out, how we're going to change your workout, super easy. Whether you're going to do cardio, whether you're not nearly as relevant as if you're going to the gym to begin with. So making the decision is easily the hardest part. And that's why we spend so much time at the beginning understanding why we're making the decision, what our goals actually are, why this is important to us, so that when we start having those hard days, those rough days where we don't want to do it, we don't want to go to the gym, you can pull up your reasons and you go, they're just as valid as yesterday. They're just as valid as last week. They're going to be just as valid in 2 months. So, and this is a commitment to me, from me. So I guess we're going to do it. And that makes it easier. But that's the hardest part, is just making the decision and following through. So if you guys have any other questions, hit us up, questions@chalmerswellness.com, or drop them in the comments and we'll go through them. Talk to you guys later. Have a nice day.